Welcome to the Sleep to Dream Analytics Explainer video, where better sleep starts with better understanding.
Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a really surprising connection between the way you sleep at night and your heart health during the day. And honestly, it's a link that could solve a huge medical mystery for millions of people out there with high blood pressure.
Think about it. So many people try everything, diet, exercise, medications, but their blood pressure just stays stubbornly high. So we're going to explore a condition that just might be the hidden culprit behind this really frustrating and frankly dangerous problem.
All right, so the main suspect in our mystery is an incredibly common condition called obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA for short. It's finally getting recognized as a direct cause of hypertension, but the crazy thing is, it still goes undiagnosed all the time.
So let's really break down what's going on here. This collapse of the upper airway. We're talking about the soft tissues in the back of your throat just closing up shop for 10, 20, sometimes even 30 seconds at a time. And it happens over and over all night long. Each time it happens, your body just goes into total alarm mode. That constant stress, night after night, has a massive impact on your body during the day.
So, to really build the case against OSA, researchers can't just look at symptoms. They have to measure its severity with real precision. And that measurement, well, it's the key to understanding this whole connection.
The AHI. This is the crucial piece of evidence right here. You can think of it as a score for just how severe the sleep apnea is. So the higher your AHI, the more often your breathing is getting messed up, and you better believe the more stress your body is under.
And here, right here, is where the link becomes absolutely undeniable. The science shows what's called a dose-response relationship. That's not just a coincidence, it's a direct pattern. The data shows that as the dose of sleep apnea, that AHI score, goes up, so does the risk of high blood pressure. And this chart from a huge study just lays it all out. Look at this. Compared to someone without sleep apnea, people with even mild OSA were twice as likely to get high blood pressure over a 4-year period. And for those with moderate to severe OSA, the risk was nearly 3 times higher. Those numbers are just incredibly stark.
Okay, but wait a minute. That's the first question any good scientist would ask, right? We know that obesity is a risk factor for both sleep apnea and hypertension. So is OSA just sort of caught in the middle? Well, the research has a pretty surprising answer.
And this is so important. Even after the researchers adjusted for weight and age and all the other factors, the link was still super strong. In fact, some studies found the connection was even more pronounced in people who weren't obese. And those are the people who might never get screened for sleep apnea, which makes this a really critical find.
But the evidence doesn't stop there. The case just keeps building. We also have to look at what's happening to your blood pressure during the night itself. Normally, your blood pressure is supposed to get a break while you sleep. Your whole cardiovascular system gets a much-needed rest. So over here on the left, you see the normal dipping pattern. But in folks with OSA, that dip just disappears. Their blood pressure stays high all night long. And this non-dipping, as it's called, is a major red flag. It tells us that the heart and arteries are under constant strain, which dramatically increases the risk for heart problems down the road.
And the fallout from these nightly breathing struggles, it doesn't just stop with your main circulatory system. It also puts a huge amount of pressure on another vital organ, your lungs.
And look, this isn't some fringe theory. The World Health Organization itself officially recognizes OSA as a cause of something called secondary pulmonary hypertension. This is a very serious condition. We're talking about the pressure inside the arteries of your lungs becoming dangerously high, and that puts a ton of extra strain on the right side of your heart.
It's estimated that about 10%, about 1 in 10 patients with obstructive sleep apnea, will actually go on to develop this high blood pressure in their lungs. Now, not everyone with OSA will get it, but it's a significant and often overlooked complication of the disorder.
So how does this happen? Well, the mechanism is really direct and it's damaging. Every single time you stop breathing, your blood oxygen levels plummet. That's a condition called hypoxemia, and in response, the delicate arteries in your lungs constrict, they tighten up. Now, just imagine that happening hundreds of times every night. It's like you're constantly putting a squeeze on the blood vessels in your lungs. Okay, so we've built a pretty strong case against OSA, and we've seen the damage it can cause. But now let's talk about the verdict, and more importantly, the solution. Because this is a treatable problem. There's good news here.
The most effective treatment out there is called positive airway pressure, or PAP therapy. It's not a drug, it's a device that gives you a gentle, steady stream of air through a mask. And that air acts like an air splint that just keeps your airway from collapsing. It stops the apneas before they can even happen.
And the results? They are absolutely measurable. According to a huge meta-analysis, hypertensive patients with OSA who use their PAP therapy see an average drop of about 2.5 points, or mmHg, in their systolic blood pressure. And that's the top number in your blood pressure reading.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. 2.5 points? Is that really it? It doesn't sound like a lot, right? But believe me, in the world of cardiovascular health, that small drop is a massive deal.
Because as the research points out, even a sustained 2-point drop in that systolic blood pressure can lead to a 10% reduction in the rate of strokes and a 7% reduction in deaths from heart disease. We're talking about small, consistent changes adding up to massive reductions in risk over a lifetime.
And of course, it makes perfect sense that the treatment works best for the people who need it most and who use it correctly. The data clearly shows that patients with more severe sleep apnea and those who are the most consistent with their therapy, they're the ones who see the biggest drops in their blood pressure. That consistency is absolutely key.
So, let's bring it all home. What does all this evidence really mean for you? Or maybe for someone you know? Let's just boil it down to the most important points.
Okay, here are the things you've got to remember. First, OSA is a direct cause of high blood pressure, and it's not just about weight. Second, treating it with PAP therapy is proven to work. Third, even those small drops in blood pressure have a huge preventive effect on strokes and heart disease. Plus, it's a treatable cause of that high pressure in the lungs. So the most important takeaway is this: if you or someone you know struggles with high blood pressure, especially if it's resistant to treatment, it is absolutely worth asking a doctor about sleep apnea. It's a pretty powerful idea when you think about it. By treating this hidden problem that happens while we're completely unconscious, we might just unlock one of the most effective ways to protect our hearts during the day. The answer to a waking problem could very well be found while we sleep. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.
Thank you for watching the Sleep to Dream Analytics Explainer video. We hope you sleep well and dream easy.